Hello my friends, welcome to Pram Strings. I'm Henriette and this lesson is lesson 9 in the Violin Class for Beginners Crickboom course. So I'm delighted to teach you today because today we're going to learn to play with the first finger of your left hand. So let's get started straight away. I'll assume that you have tuned your violin and that you've got rosin on your bow and your shoulder rest on, and we're going to get straight into this. So what I'd like you to do is to put your violin up on your shoulder as high as you possibly can, so close to your ear. And then I want you to have a look at your left hand and find the crease in your hand where your first finger, your index finger, is connected to the rest of your hand. And most people have got like a crease in their skin there. And that crease I'm going to call my finger line. Now if you find it helpful, you might write a little finger line on your finger there, because this is something that we're going to focus on today and also in our next few lessons. So if you find it helpful, do just like me, grab a pen and write that line a little bit more clearly, because this line is going to go right here where we've got the E string. So what I'd like you to do is bring your hand up so that that line, I'm just going to get rid of my bow, so that that line is level with the E string. I'll show you this in this way. So this is how you will see it from your end if you are having your violin on your shoulder. So that finger line needs to be precisely next to the E string. Can you see that? And that indicates the level. So what we're trying to avoid here is that you play with your finger line below the fingerboard all the way up from the fingerboard. So that is why this finger line is helpful, I think, is that you can gauge where it goes just level with the E string. Now then, when you've got your violin up on your shoulder like that and you've sorted out your finger line, let's have a look at your thumb. And your left thumb should be just peeking over the edge, so let's say about half a nail above the fingerboard. And it should be just loosely sitting there, so not gripping the violin at all, but just very loosely placing it there. Now once you've sorted out your thumb, let's go back to that finger line and let's see if it's still in place here, because that may wriggle a little bit, so we'll keep coming back to that. And now I want you to think about your wrist, and your wrist is pushed out this way so that it's more or less straight. I mean, I'm not aiming for a really big push there. I'm thinking that this line is more or less straight, depending on how big your wrists are, of course. And we're going to curve our fingers as well, and that would leave you with a sort of claw-like shape like that. And if you've got more or less this shape, you're good to go, you see. So we're working on each aspect individually. We've sorted out our finger line, we've sorted out our thumb, so just peeking over the edge here, and then we've sorted out what I call our tennis ball. You can imagine you have a big tennis ball in your hand right here, okay, and then you've got the correct posture. Now let's stick your first finger up into the air, so straight up, and now can you bend it as much as you can? So I'm looking for a complete bend, and that is something maybe to emphasize as well. This is not far enough. You want to see if you can completely close this gap here. So when you place your first finger, this is its shape. Okay, so I see this quite a lot, sort of a half rounded finger, but it's not bent far enough. So go completely closed. Now initially that might be quite difficult to get your finger to bend, but give it a go today and you'll find that as you practice this more often, it becomes easier. So we have our finger line in place, we have our thumb in place, we have our space for our big tennis ball here. And now as you bend that index finger, can you place it for me up on the A string? So like that. And if you have a really good look, I've got about one finger from the beginning of the string left. So I'm not right at the start of the string here, but I'm moving my finger so that it has about one finger that I can put in between the beginning of the string here and where my finger is. Now let's practice that a couple of times. Let's go up with your finger and now curve it again and place it about in that place. In a moment we will hear what that sounds like and we can fine tune it. But let's just practice the movement, shall we? So go up and down and up and down. And one more time, up and down. And now let's pick up our bow and let's hear what that finger sounds like. And I'll play it for you first. Awesome. Will you join me? Listen carefully if you sound exactly the same as I do. So we're starting with our finger on the string. Are you ready? Here we go. And now stop for a moment and take your finger away. And stop for a moment. Place your finger again. Stop. And lift your finger up. And we'll do it one more time. Place your finger. And lift your finger up. Awesome. Let's put your violin and your bow down and give your arm a really good stretch. Now you may have noticed that that is quite hard on the shoulder and on the finger initially. So really stretch and move your shoulders round so that you get the blood flowing again, and then in a moment we'll play it again. Now if you have a book, I would like you to have a look at, if you have a newer version of the book, so I'll show you in two books now. If you have this red version of the book, it's exercise 12 that we're going to do. First of all, this is on page 13. If you have an older version of the book, like this one, it is exercise 20, and exercise 20 you can find on page 5. So, once your shoulders have rested, let's pick up the violin and the bow again, and let's play those exercises. So, before we can play this exercise, I want you to go step by step through the positioning of your hand first of all. So, check over your finger line. Check over the position of your thumb and make sure you're not gripping your thumb, because we aim to play with soft hands if we possibly can. And then check over your tennis ball space. So you really have got this nice claw-like shape with your hand. Whilst in our exercise that we did just a moment ago, we started on the first finger. When we read our exercise from our book, we're going to start on the open A string. So have your hand in shape, and we're going to start on the A string and we'll play a long bow on A. Will you join me? And now we will wait, and now we're placing our finger. There we go. Now stop. Take your finger away, but leave your bow on the string. Here we go. A. Take a moment to place your finger and we'll play the B. Stop. Take your finger away. And our last go. Place your finger. Awesome. And you've just played your first exercise with the first finger. Congratulations. That's a major step in advancing your violin playing. Now I've given it away already a little bit. We know that our open string is called A. If we go one note higher than A, the notes go just like the alphabet. So this finger, when you place it on the A string, the note is called B. So this time when we practice our exercise again, I would like you to say A and B as you play your notes, so that we learn the letter names of the notes all at the same time as learning to play the violin. So let's get our violin back in position again. Then we'll play the same exercise again. So have your violin close to your ear. Check over your finger line, your thumb and your tennis ball so that you've got the right position of your left hand. And now this time I'd like you to go back to our stance that we practiced in earlier lessons. So let's step forward with our left foot and get that really nice balanced stance there. Now can we check our bow hold? I'm sorry, it's a whole long list of things. Check your bow hold, that your thumb is bent. If you can manage, try to bend your little finger as well. And now we're good to go. So let's place your bow on the A string and I'll count us in for 4. Each of our notes is going to go 2 counts, and then we have 2 counts rest in between each note. So that should give us enough time to place the finger. After 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, long A. Rest, place your finger and rest, lift your finger off and A, rest, rest, place your finger, rest, rest, take your finger off, rest, rest, place your finger, rest, rest. Awesome playing, very good. And you see again and again in our lessons that violin playing is multitasking. Now I'm not asking you to get this all right in one go. That would be crazy and I wouldn't be able to do that. But when we stop and focus on each individual aspect, eventually all of these will integrate in your playing. So just take your time before you start each tune to check over your stance, your bow hold, your left hand position. Obviously today we're focusing mainly on our left hand position, so you might make that your priority today. But then if you've got any brain space left, perhaps you can add a bow hold to it or straight bowing. And you will notice gradually each individual technique will take much less time to sort out in your head and you can add more to it. So please, please don't despair if you find this all too much at one go. Just pick out 1 or 2 things that you can do and home in on those, and then eventually this will all be all right. Now to help with building strength in your fingers, let's put the bow away and we're practicing our left hand pizzicato exercise that we've done in earlier lessons. So have your violin up, shift it towards your left ear. There we go. And now let's place our thumb into this corner here. Move your elbow underneath the violin and your fingers up and over, so you can see all my fingers are way over the fingerboard. And now we're going to move even further towards the G string, and with my pinky I'm going to pluck the G string 4 times. Off we go. 2, 4 times. D is next with our ring finger. Next up is our middle finger for the A string, and we've got our index finger left for the E string. Lovely stuff. Now let's give your arm a really good rest. Very nice. Super exercise. And next I want you to practice our exercise that we've done holding the violin with no hands. So again, shift that violin across your collarbone towards your ear. That's it. And now let's see. Let's find a good comfortable place where you can hold your violin with this corner of your jaw here. And let's see if you can hold it with no hands. Just like that. Brilliant. I just lift your head up and relax your neck. And now we're doing it again. Let's try and hold it for a little bit longer this time, shall we? That's amazing if you can do that. Be careful that you're not here. Okay, it shouldn't be your chin that's on the chin rest, but it should be your jaw that's on the chin rest. So slide it to the side if you find yourself more in front with your violin. And let's try it again. Now let's count to 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Give your neck a good rest. So shake your head a little bit. Yes. And a little bit no. Because we're aiming for that relaxation all the time. And you'll find me saying this in every single video more or less on this channel. Now release the tension. Now relax. Now let's do an exercise to make you aware of where your tension is, you see? So that is hugely important in violin playing, that you never play with too much power or too much tension. So now we're going to repeat one more time the exercise that we played from the book. So let's pick up your bow and let's sort out the positioning of your violin. So make it nice and comfortable. Move your hand back and check over your finger line. So is your finger line level with the E string? If yes, let's go and take your thumb. Is your thumb nice and loose here? So I'm not squeezing that at all. It's just gently, softly lying there. You see, I can slightly move it. So it's not gripping at all. Okay, now let's check over your space for your tennis ball. And let's just practice that bending and stretching of your index finger once again. And we're going to continue with the same exercise that we did. And I'll count us in for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest. Place your finger. Rest. Take your finger away. 2. Rest. Finger on. Take your finger away. And place your finger. And awesome. Haven't you made excellent progress today? Well done. Very good. So if you have any questions, do please write them in the comment section down below this video. And I very much look forward to seeing you in the next lesson when we're going to build on this technique that you've learned today. So thanks very much for watching and I'll see you very soon. Goodbye.